You ready? Thank you.
All right, my name is Brett Sommer, and my partner is Skyler Williams, and she just told me her name is spelled with an ER, not an AR, so sorry if you write that down. But we're going to do, we've done our presentation on anchor babies, which is really about the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship. So to start, I just wanted to talk about the controlling law. And the only case on this is from the late 1800s, 1873, United States versus Wong Kim Ark. And Wong Kim was born in the United States in San Francisco to two Chinese parents who were here on legal visas, but they weren't residents of America, they were Chinese citizens. So when Wong Kim was 18, he left America to visit China. When he came back, he was not allowed admission back into the country because they said he wasn't a citizen, he was had the same citizenship as his parents. So he sues under the 14th Amendment, and so that's where we're going to get the case. So 14, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And so that part that I bolded is really the part that the Supreme Court had the arguments about on whether you can interpret it. And you can really interpret it in one of two ways. The first one is Jus Soli, which is soil, or Jus Sanguinis, which is going to be blood. And so Jus Soli is the right of soul. So that would be the right of anyone born in the territory of a state or nationality has citizenship, with unconditional basis for citizenship. The other way to do it is Sanguinis, a principle of nationality law by which citizenship is not determined by place of birth, but by having one or both parents who are citizens of the state. Children at birth may automatically be citizens if their parents have state citizenship or other major rights. So in this case, his attorneys made the argument for Jus Soli that it meant subject, that you could interpret it as subject to the laws of the United States. And so they're saying that since he was in the country, you have an obligation to follow the laws, so he's subject to those laws. And so that came from the common law of England, is where the Jus Soli came from. The government, who's the one that challenged his right to citizenship at the time in the 1800s, and there was a lot of animosity between Chinese citizens coming over, and so they went with the argument that they should use the Jus Sanguinis, which is more of an international concept, which would exclude parents who only just from another country. So 6-2 ruling. They found that he had acquired U.S. citizenship at birth, and since then his citizenship had not been lost or taken away since birth, so he was still a citizen. And so what they said was, when you look at the 14th Amendment, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, it includes everyone, native-born children, except for foreign rulers, diplomats, or those born on public ships or enemy forces. So those are, the Supreme Court essentially said those are the only exclusions to if you're born here, you're a citizen. So anything other than that, you're a citizen. And so that was the last case that went to the Supreme Court on the 14th Amendment. And so there's one key difference, is that Wong Kim's parents were in the country legally, as opposed to the anchor baby argument, which now the parents aren't here legally. And so people who want to get rid of birthright citizenship, they cite that's the difference in the case, that it should be looked at differently with parents here legally on visas versus parents who have gotten in the country illegally. So one of the ways, just to see that they would potentially change it, is to amend. We have to amend the Constitution. And so, as we know, to amend the Constitution, there's a two-step process from Article 5. It has to be proposed and then ratified. And so both houses of Congress have to propose the legislation and pass it 2/3, and then ratify it through 3/4 of the state legislators. And just with it being such a polar issue, with conservatives here and Democrats here, and they're so far apart, I think there's just no way that they could ratify the Constitution. It would just never get passed to all the states. So I don't think that would ever happen. But just to say, if they did, it wouldn't be retroactive, because if you look at all the other countries who had birthright citizenship and got rid of it, the only way that you can do it to not just arbitrarily pick a date as just when it passes, and so it could be retroactive. One of the things that happened is now, so every year essentially 300,000 illegal immigrants are, well, 300,000 babies are born to illegal immigrants in the country a year, and so those 300,000 they have birthright citizenship. So now if you get rid of birthright citizenship, now every year, assuming things go in the same way, there's now 300,000 more illegal immigrants in the country, and these are people who would have been citizens for it. So now the problem with that is these individuals are now stateless. Since they're born in America and you lose birthright citizenship, they're not a citizen of America, they're not a citizen of Mexico, and so it would start to create a large class of second and third rate citizens that don't have the access to things to become productive citizens. And so somebody asked about how you actually become a legal citizen, and so I wanted to talk about that. Step one is to get a green card, and I'm going to go to the website, because first I didn't read all of this stuff, but just so you can see what the process looks like. Sure. I'm sorry, I use Mac, so this is new to me. So the first thing you have to do to become a legal citizen is you have to get a green card, and what the green card does is it gives you basically a permanent residence. And so this is the page. You have to go through all of these things. You have to find out if you're eligible. You have to get your status adjusted. You have to have some processing, concurrent filing, visa available, priority dates or certain dates. You have to get travel documents, employment authorization. You have to have all your medicals up to date. You have to have an affidavit of support. So that's something notarized, basically from a government body in Mexico, a public charge, and Child Protection Act. And then when you click on this, like each of these are just long, long processes that you have to fill out. And so what I read is it takes about 2 years to get a green card. And so now we'll go back to the presentation. So that's the first thing you have to do. After you get, so after you get a green card, then you have to wait 3 or 5 years with your green card, depending on, there's different statuses of green cards. And so depending on what status you get, you either have to wait 3 years or 5 years before you even apply for citizenship. And so it's on a first serve, first come basis to get a green card. And so there's a wait list, and right now the wait list is almost 1.5 million names. So I saw one senator had an estimate of, realistically, if you did everything legal, it'd probably take you 15 years to legally come in to be a United States citizen. So this is just my opinion from after looking at all this stuff, is that the reason it's come up is that it's not even about birthright citizenship, it's just illegal immigration and an immigration issue, and that the GOP and people on the right just want to change immigration laws, and so they see this as a potential tool to just get immigration reform. And I think the reason is assimilation. I think that there's a fear of when you see a neighborhood in Texas or something that every sign in there has got Spanish on the stores and no one speaks English. And I don't think people like that, and I think that frightens them. And so instead of trying to find some middle ground, they just said, let's just get them out. And so one of the ways is to try to end birthright citizenship. But I think when you end birthright citizenship, now you have all these illegal immigrants and there's no way for them to become citizens. You've taken away their one link to America and that one thing that could make them want to assimilate. And so it's really going to have the reverse effect. And so I don't think, personally, they should get rid of it. And so we had some future recommendations. And if this is just the biggest one, like I said, I don't even think it's a birthright citizen issue. It's just an immigration issue. And so the first thing they need to do is effectively enforce immigration law, which they would need to start by is not really redoing it, but simplifying it. Kind of like if you looked at the tax code, it's something like this thick. the immigration law is very similar. I was reading one thing where they said an experienced immigration attorney, it'll take them over 2 hours just to figure out if someone even is a citizen or can get a green card. And so I think they would need to simplify the immigration law. And then next, we think they should implement employer sanctions for those fueling illegal immigration. Because when they set up to come over here illegally, they don't just cross and make a run for it and turn up wherever they may. There's a plan, and most of the time they have jobs lined up. And so, and obviously they're being exploited. They're getting paid very, very low wages. So you need to really crack down on these construction jobs that give them jobs. And then lastly, just make it overall easier. Like I said, it takes over 20 years. Well, if you did it legally, 20 years. And they need to make it possible so that a Mexican citizen trying to escape the poverty or the corruption in Mexico can actually have a clear path to becoming an American citizen and then assimilating in a way. Any questions?
All right, let's give him a hand. Why does it take so long? I mean, let's get past the politics of it. Is it the paperwork that makes it take so long, or there's a waiting period in there?
Yeah, it's
15 years is a long time now.
It's kind of like just all of that coming together. One, the people that are coming over here aren't like you and me, so they can't even understand the law in the first place. It's from the stuff that I read that most of them never even consider legal immigration because they don't even know how to, and so there's not. I mean, just the process isn't. They can't even understand.
What is the role of an immigration attorney? Well, I know immigration attorney might represent immigrants.
I thought, from what I read, the ones that I saw were not attorneys like getting people over, but they're representing immigrants here that are in deportation cases and things like that. That's kind of what I saw.
Because once they get into deportation, they can't be on the path to citizenship because they're trying to get deported. They're trying to deport them out. Right?
Yeah. Oh, it's a quick trigger. You have to do everything right. So the other issue was, like I said, there's such a long wait list to get a green card. No one would even consider getting on it.
So you have to get the green card before you even get on the path to citizenship.
Right. First thing is you have to get a green card. And so what the green card does is it gives you the ability to be a resident in the United States. And so then that's like a trial period, you know. And so you have to file your taxes and stay out of trouble and you have to wait either 3 or 5 years to basically be a citizen. And then you apply for citizenship.
So that's part of that process. But now to get the green card, what is the approximate waiting time to get that green card?
Well, the green card is the one that has the waiting list. The green card, it would take like at least a year if you filed everything correctly. Yeah. And so that's the issue is things aren't getting filed correctly. That's when I went off the slideshow and pulled up that list. Like I didn't even feel like reading all of that stuff. I mean, every link that you click on's got 3 or 4 pages, and a lot of times it's stuff that Mexico doesn't have. Like you know, not every baby born over there has social security numbers or it's recorded. It's just a different world. And so I just think when they look at it, they would never even consider trying to become a legal citizen.
Well, it seems to me the American government